shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet. Damn, ain't that great. I don't wanna go to work, cause my boss is a jerk, and I'm not even that paid. I need a change in my life, cause I don't feel alive, and there's nothing that makes me happy. Hold my beer for a minute. I'm about to quit my job, cash in for a ticket. I'm going on a trip and I don't plan to visit. I'm gonna stay there till I feel like I'm winning. And this is just the beginning. I need a big change, help me feel like living. I need a big swing, home runs I'm hitting, and I'll never look back, moving on till I get it all. And we all got dreams, we all want things, but what you gonna do for it? How you gonna move for it? What you gonna be? And do you believe you can do anything? But what you gonna do for it? How you gonna move for it? What you gonna be?
Check.
Let's go. Hey. Yeah, this is my life, my strife, my right to fight, to die on. And this is my game to play, to claim a brand new name. And I ain't gonna lie to you, I'm a bit nervous that I might screw everything up that I've ever done. But what's the point of living if you ain't having fun? I guess I'll try this.
What's up, Jamesy?
Gotta find what I'm good at.
Come on to YouTube, buddy.
I guess I look here, look there, over where am I scared? Where am I at? I gotta make it in this life. Whatever makes me happy, know I'm doing.
Are you ready for the best damn NFL show on the planet? Man Hour Nation! Rise up.
Yeah, hey, let's go. Hitting that gridiron, we going hard, we running the plays. You know the vibe, only the strong survive. Gotta keep your head in the game. Talking NFL, uncut, straight raw. Steady bringing that sauce. We about to take off. Get it hype, this man, our sport talk. Yeah, from the quarterback to the lineman. Everybody bringing heat. You don't really want to try them. Hey, who gon' win? It's a battle of the giants. This show is the flyest. Nobody can deny it. This is Man Hour. Sport Talk. Man Hour. Sport Talk. What team you reppin'? We keep it interesting. Who caught another down? Who got that interception? This is Man Hour. Sport Talk. Man Hour. Sport Talk. What team you reppin'? We keep it interesting. Who caught another down? Who got that interception?
Let's go! What is up, Man Hour Nation? Welcome to Man Hour NFL Talk, your go-to spot for live, raw, uncut NFL talk. I'm so glad you guys are on with us today. Guys, before you jump into these action, make sure you hit the like button, share it with a couple of friends, and subscribe so you to live interactive show. That's the easiest way to stay plugged into us and everything that's happened with the Man Hour show. But if you guys want the full Man Hour experience, become a Pigskin Pundit. That is our members-only community. You get free entry to the weekly NFL Pick'ems, exclusive merchandise, bonus live streams that only the Pigskin Pundits get. So if you guys are all about the next level access, join the squad today. Remember, this is a live interactive show, so drop your thoughts, your opinions, your hottest of the hottest takes down in the comments down below, because I want to hear from you. I want to hear from you. Mr. James Frank says, let's go. Let's go, says James Frank. We go, baby. We go to the moon, baby. Let's go. What is up, James Frank? What is up? And James Frank says, I always forget to switch over to youtube.com/Man Hour till mid-show. Well, buddy, set a reminder. 9 p.m. Tuesdays and Thursdays, all through the month of July, we are at 9 p.m. East Coast time. Now, once August hits, we are back to 5 days a week. Sunday through Thursday, 7 p.m. East Coast time. Time. We got our buddy, the man, the myth, the legend, the Dallas Cowboys lover, Electro Restoration, in the chat today as well. He says, howdy, y'all. What's up, Electro Restorations? How about them Cowboys, baby? How about them Cowboys? Let's go. What is up, guys? What is up? Let's go over to Huddle Sports Network, where we got a bunch of Bears fans typing in. We got Ron says, bear down, baby. I say slow it down, Ron. I say slow it down, baby, because your Chicago Bears, Ron, are only going to get 9 wins this season. Your Chicago Bears will be going bear down like normal. And then he says, F Green Bay. Go Pack, go, baby. Go Pack, go. You know what, guys? When we come back next Tuesday, I might you know what? I'm going to put the cheese head on my head, and we are going to do our thing. Jim Powell, the CEO of the Pigskin Punters in the chat. What is up, John? Give me some of that.
Pigskin Punt. Get
He said, who that? Who that there? Who that there? It's Buck Nasty, baby. It's okay, Jim. Put your head right there, baby, and I will cuddle all your thoughts. I will cuddle all of your needs. And James Frank says, we are less than 80 days till officially football season. 80 days, baby. 80 days until the pads are popping. 80 days until the Dallas Cowboys and the Cleveland Browns are going to the Super Bowl. 80 days until we can stop talking about this man, the myth, the legend, the Iceman. Man, our nation, we got some hilarious, absolute gold coming out of Chicago today. It's no more the Hammond talk. It's no more the Alton Heights talk. It's a trademark denial. If you guys were on the internet yesterday, you saw the news hit the wire. Chicago Bears quarterback Caleb Williams officially had his trademark application for the nickname Iceman completely denied and rejected by the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. They basically looked at it and said, really? The government stepped in and said, hold on there, Mr. Second, third year quarterback. Hang on there, Mr. Caleb Williams. Hang on there, Mr. Iceman. They cited the likelihood of confusion because an Oregon-based footwear company is called Lacrosse has owned the trademark Iceman institution for honeymoon since 1988. You cannot make this crap up. Caleb Williams got outdueled by a winter boot. But we need to talk about this bigger picture here because where there's smoke, there's fire, right? Because my immediate reaction today, it was simple. It's like, you're trying to trademark a name like this? Like, slow down, baby! Let's be completely real for a second there, Mr. Iceman, Chicago Bears fans. How many people do you know that go by the nickname Iceman? Off the top of my head, I can think of five off the top of my head without even thinking. The legendary Hall of Famer George Gervin, who was ice skating on the court of the San Antonio Spurs for decades. And then you got Chuck Liddell, the Chuck Liddell in the UFC, Mr. Iceman himself. And then you got comic book characters. Hell, you got the Top Gun character. Hell, you have X-Men characters. Iceman are across the world. And out of all the famous out of all of the famous Icemans in pop culture history, I can guarantee you that Caleb Williams is not one of them. Williams claims his teammates started calling him that around the halls, around the Chicago Bears facilities after some late game heroics during his rookie year. And because Chicago is frigid, he thought it fit. Cool, whatever. But trying to be a legendary lockdown in a universally common phrase after one decent season, it's greedy, Caleb Williams. It's arrogant. And quite frankly, it is completely unnecessary. But here's the real reason why he wanted this. And this is the core of what drives me crazy about some of these modern day players. This is exactly how you get clowned in the league. This is exactly how you get clowned on the man hour. This is exactly how you get clowned on the old X machine. When you spend your offseason filing corporate trademarks paperwork for athletic bags, water bottles, and sunglasses under generic nickname before you even won a playoff game. You invite this hate, Caleb Williams. You invite this hate, Chicago Bears. You put this bullseye right on your own chest, and the Bears do not need that. Caleb Williams especially does not need that. This is exactly how those rumors get started and gain traction. Guys, remember the pre-draft circus when reports flew around that he wanted actual part ownership of the Chicago Bears if they're going to draft him? When you act like a global conglomerate before you even proven you are a consistent top 10 quarterback, people are going to view you as a diva. And this is why we'll get absolutely dodged by the opposing defenses and clowned by fans the second you throw an interception in September. The minute he slips up or frees up in a big moment, every single defensive lineman in the entire NFL is going to scream bootliner and Iceman right in his face. Guys, simply put, I need you guys in the chat right now. I need you guys in the chat right now. Am I on this, or does Caleb actually have a right to be protecting his Iceman brand? Like, am I wrong or am I right? And when you think of the name Iceman, does Caleb Williams come to mind? Or is it old UFC fighter or George Gervin's or somebody else? Who is the real Iceman? Guys, drop your thoughts in the comments down below. Smash the like button. Remember, subscribe to youtube.com/manhour, because this is the live interactive show, baby. James Frank says, go Browns. Screw Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh. Go. Jim Powell. Pigskin pun.
Pigskin pun. Get yourself.
He said, give the NFC North back to Canada. Not the CFL. Just give them back. Facts, baby. Hey, listen, anybody north of like Chicago, just go to Canada. Packers, Jets, Buffalo Bills, Lions. Just get out of here. James Frank says the Iceman was Hitman back in the day for the Mafia out of jerseys. Get out of here. He about to get hit. Richard Kalinas. How do you say that name? He was the original Iceman. And James says, that's him, Jim. Val Kilmer from old Varsity Brews, right? He was the Iceman. Electro Restoration says the only Iceman there was a guy who flew F-14 Tomcats next to the legendary Maverick. Facts, baby. Facts. James says, nah. If it was more original, then he'd have the rights, but nah. He doesn't have the rights to that. I mean, honestly, people call me Buck. I know 17 different Bucks out there. So since I was the original, Kakinski. Thank you, James. I'm terrible with things. Like y'all know that. But yeah, I mean, come on. And Ron says Caleb is the new Iceman. And no, Caleb is the new bust in the NFL. If you want to go down there, Ron. If you want to go down that rabbit hole, Ron, Caleb is the new bust. Now, I know some people like Wyatt and Ron and Broski Bear and the rest of you Bears, Mafia, Nation, whatever you guys want to call yourselves. Saying Caleb Williams is the greatest thing to slice bread. He's trash, baby. That's why he's not a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. And Ron also says, go Pack, go to the bottom of the division. 11 wins, baby. 11 wins. Ace says bear down. Man, so many Bear fans here. So crazy. So crazy. Yender says F Stinkland. F and Stinkland. Is that what you're trying to call Cleveland? And Steve says Caleb is just average. Thank you. Somebody with some common sense here says Caleb Williams is just average. Those are facts. Now let's not get it twisted. Caleb Williams did have a good season last year. He did perform in some games last season. However, let's see a repeat of that. Guys, if you don't know, I posted my top 10 quarterback list for the 2026 projections, and Caleb Williams is not on there. Lamar Jackson's not on there. CJ Stroud is not on there. Cam Ward is not on there. Sam Darnold is not on there. You guys would have thought hell would have frozen over because Caleb freaking Iceman Williams is not in the projected top 10 for the 2026 NFL season. He's not that good, boys. He is average at best. Electro Race says Caleb's names needs to be manicured. Listen, the person that does my nails. Yes, I get my nails done. I get my cuticles done. I get a nice little clear coat. Her name's manicured. So what was he going to do? Try to steal a name from an Asian lady? Come on, that's racist, baby. That's racist. James Frank says, nah, I ain't calling him a bust. Just come up with something original like Icy Nails or something. Listen, James, you can call it. James, you're on man hour, buddy. Don't waffle around. We going to call a spade a spade. And we see a bust like we see a bust in Caleb Williams. Call him a bust. Call him out, baby. No, he is not a bust, but he's not going to be all-time great either. Let me backtrack a little bit. Let me collect my thoughts and simmer down, baby. Simmer plus down plus now equals simmer down. Now, so simmer down now, you hear? If you know, you know. Saturday Night Live. But yeah, Caleb Williams is an average quarterback. He's not a bust. He's not a top 10. He's that 14 through 16 range. Right there with CJ Stroud. Right there with Sam Darnold. Right there with Brock Purdy. Darcy's in the chat says Bears will be last in division. Lions will beat them twice. Well, Darcy, next Thursday, you can tune into Man Hour Live at 9 p.m. East Coast time, and we have our way too early NFC win-loss predictions, all the collaborations into one. So in a 90-minute segment, you will get every NFC game from the Detroit Lions to the Dallas Cowboys, to the San Francisco 49ers, to the Cardinals. You will get every game. Win-loss predictions way too early. Right there. So next Thursday, see if I agree with you or not. I can tell you that I don't agree with you. Because when we talk about average, the Detroit Lions are average. Especially when we talk about topic number 2 there with Terrion Arnold getting arrested. Ron says, I love grating cheese. I don't. I like going to Olive Garden and let them grate my cheese for them or for me. But grating cheese, I don't want to do that work. That is such a waste of time. Yender says, F Ohio in general. I live pretty close to Ohio, and I can concur with that 100%. Steve says, remember Eddie Murphy yelling, "That's the Iceman. That's the Iceman right there." I don't remember that, Steve. The only Eddie Murphy I can think of movie is is it Rush Hour, or is that the other black guy? They all kind of start to look alike. I'm totally kidding. But no, I don't remember that movie or TV show. So help me out. Fred is in the chat. Is rather be fishing. Fred says, good evening. What's up, Fred? What is up? And he says, is this the man hour himself? Yes. My name's Buck. For all you new folk out there that are part of the Man Hour community now, head over to youtube.com/man hour. Become a pigskin pundit, guys. And we all get to know each other on that personal level. But yes, I am Buck. Ron says, who eliminated the Packers in the playoffs? Fair. Fair. Yender says, the only Iceman I acknowledge is the dude from the X-Men movies. Listen, you have to put Top Gun Iceman in there. And Chuck Liddell. Come on. I feel like the Top Gun Iceman is the most famous Iceman in the world. Steve says, that's him, Fred. Talking Mahomes is the greatest. Listen, Patrick Mahomes is that dude. The best fourth quarter quarterback of all time. However, if you guys head over to facebook.com/man hour NFL talk, you will see my official top 10 2026 quarterback projections. I have Patrick Mahomes sitting at number 6, I do believe. Marcus Newsom says Lions are better than the Bears by a lot. Not Lion fans who are counting TA anyways. I wouldn't say that. I would say the Bears and the Lions are pretty much neck and neck. Tune in next Thursday, and I'll give you guys my way too early win-loss predictions, or head over to youtube.com/man hour, and you can see the clip of the Chicago Bears or the Detroit Lions, whichever one you like. I have posted all those clips up there. We're doing a little smash up next week. Another 48 hours with Nick Nolery. Is that the 48 hours host? I'm confused by that. Jim says, can't call him a bear when he's barely a cub. Jim, you normally got some pretty good zingers, buddy. You normally got some pretty good zingers, but that felt a little short, like Caleb Williams did of 4,000 yards last season. Steve says the best fourth quarterback history of all time is Favre and the Magic Man Don Majavovic. I cannot say that name. Majavovic. You guys will know quickly I'm terrible with names, and I am not afraid to admit that. Yenzer said Sub-Zero from Mortal Kombat could be considered Iceman. I do like Sub-Zero from Mortal Kombat. I do love me some Mortal Kombat. Fred says, bullshit. Top Gun sucks donkey balls. I'd rather be watching paint dry. I watched the Top Gun just to listen to Danger Zone, then I ejected the VHS. Such a hater. Top Gun is by far top 5 movie of all time. Matter of fact, let's go down that rabbit hole. Let's go down that rabbit hole and let's talk about it. Because when you think of top 5 movies, Top Gun has to be a top 5 movie of all time. Not because Tom Cruise is from Louisville and that's where I reside, but it's a pretty damn good movie. The original Smokey and the Bandits up there, the original, not the number 2 or number 3 when they're going for clam chowder. Those are just getting a little ridiculous. The Longest Yard, the new one with Adam Sandler, that's a pretty good movie. Top 3 movies. I do love Coach Carter. That is a great movie. And the all-time greatest movie of all time, I'm talking like top line, like I can watch it over and over and over again. Bambi. Come on, man. Bambi. John Peoples.
Pigskin pun. Get you some.
What is up, John? What is up? What is up? Tavern Smith says the end is near to Jesus before it's too late. Please talk to him and say it yourself. Jesus is coming. Repeat yourself, baby. Man, I already wrote the Bible, Tavern. I wrote the Bible. The Man Hour Bible is at manhourradio.com. Guys, click on the Bible. Right there it is. It's the football Bible. Come on. Just call me Jesus. John says, yo, jacked up on Mountain Dew again. I'm drinking the Sam's Club energy drink or sports drink tonight. This is wild berry, mixed berry. It's pretty good. Eminem killed it in his new one. Killed what? Whoa, Buck. No, Back to the Future. Listen, I don't like Back to the Future. Who's that? Michael J. Fox. Yender says, I love me some Top Gun. Listen, who doesn't love Top Gun? I mean, especially on the scene where that sexy girl, I don't know her name, but he's like, no, that's Days of Thunder. He's like, draft. That's the Days of Thunder is pretty good. Good too. Steve says John Elway and Dan Marino was way better than Patrick Mahomes. So is Jim Kelly. Now, Steve, as they say, you can't compare apples and oranges, but they're both fruit. Why can't you compare them? But John and Elway to Dan Marino to even Jim Kelly, those days are a hell of a lot different than Patrick Mahomes. Do I think Patrick Mahomes would thrive in a John Elway era? No. Do I think Dan Marino would thrive in a Patrick Mahomes era? Also no. John Elway most certainly wouldn't. So, listen, I think Dan Marino is a top 5 quarterback of all time. You got to give credit where credit is due. One of the best regular season quarterbacks ever. However, out of those 4 names, Jim, sorry, Steve, you have John Elway, Dan Marino, Patrick Mahomes, and Jim Kelly. Fourth quarter, game is on the line. You need a touchdown to win the game. There's 13 seconds. Bill fans know all about 13 seconds. Who do you want the ball in their hands with? Do you want John Elway, Dan Marino, Patrick Mahomes, or Jim Kelly? I'm taking Patrick Mahomes. I'm taking Patrick Mahomes because, listen, he does it week after week, game after, like, it doesn't matter. Patrick Mahomes is always going to be there. The best fourth quarter quarterback ever. Best fourth quarterback ever. But Broski says, whoa. I'll take Joe Montana. listen, Joe Montana is a pretty damn good quarterback as well. I will still take Patrick Mahomes in the fourth quarter. Maybe. So, I mean, I'm old, but I'm not old. Like, I'm still kind of in like this midlife crisis per se, right? I'm 35. I did not see Joe Montana play at his prime. I saw him play with the Kansas City Chiefs, 91 and 92, I think it was. I saw John Elway at the tail end of his career. Yes, he could considered prime with the back-to-back Super Bowls. I saw Jim Kelly at the tail end of his career. Dan Marino at the tail end of his career. So from like, let's say 97 is when I really started to understand the football game till present. I have to take Patrick Mahomes over everybody because that's who I've seen play. Now, people like Broski Bear and Jim and John and Electro Restorations, you guys are a lot older than I am. You are a lot wiser. So you saw Joe Montana in his prime. You saw Steve Young in his prime, right? Troy Aikman in his prime. Like, you saw all those prime guys. So I'm not going to take away from your opinion because Joe Montana has obviously been there, done that. Well, he had like 3 Super Bowls, I think it was. But he's been there, he's done that. John Elway, been there, done that. So yes, I get it. I still got to take Patrick Mahomes. Eminem was in the new Happy Gilmore. That's right. He was the heckler's son, wasn't it, or something? I feel the need for speed. Facts. So Broski Bear does say shout out, man. Shout out to Broski. So Broski is a Bears fan, guys. He is a very passionate Bears fan, but he speaks logic. Very, very logical. Jim Palace says Dan Marino is from the Berg. Marino is top 3. So since he's from Pennsylvania, that automatically puts him in like the top 5. Fair. Electro Restoration says, sorry, y'all, but Eli Manning over Patrick Mahomes. In the Super Bowl, 100%. In the Super Bowl, 100%. However, regular season, Eli Manning's kind of blah. Blah. Eli Manning is going to be the only Super Bowl or the only quarterback with 2 Super Bowl rings to make the Hall of Fame. John says Marino was the quickest release through 50 yards darts. You put Marino in Dallas, they win 5 Super Bowls. That is probably a very factual statement. Very factual statement. John, I cannot disagree with that at all. Broski Bear says, ever seen The Drive? John Elway was nasty time. I have not seen The Drive. Where is that? Is that on Netflix or like Hulu? Because I will definitely have to check that out because I am leaving for Indianapolis tomorrow morning and I got a 2-hour drive. So, I mean, give me something to watch. Give me something to watch. Electra Richard says, thanks, Buck, but I am way younger than you, man. I just know a lot about NFL history. So hang on. You're a Cowboys fan. You know NFL history. You have electro restorations and you're younger than 30? Somebody get this man a beer. Broski Bear says Joe Montana was 4-0 in the Super Bowls. 3 Super Bowl MVPs. That's tough. And that was all over the 80s, right, guys? Have correct me if I'm wrong, because so I wasn't even born yet when Joe Montana was still flinging the rock around. When I became a Chiefs fan, Joe Montana was our quarterback. So shows you how much I know about the 49ers history per se. Jim Powell says, I think it's completely unfair to rank quarterbacks without first ranking the offensive line. That is the factual statement as well. But Jim, how do you rank offensive linemen? Because you can't rank it by stats. You have to rank it by your eye test, right? Like you have to rank it by how good this actual person was. And that requires a lot of legwork. That goes back and watching film after film after film. And aren't people saying that the Dallas Cowboys 90s team had the best offensive line of all time? Those aren't my words. Those are just like my uncles talking, right? Just talking shit, basically, because as a Steelers fan, a Chiefs fan, a Broncos fan, and a Cowboys fan that were my uncles, and then my dad was like a Lions fan. But it was just awkward growing up. But seriously, like how do you rank offensive linemen? That's the question, because PFF stats are skewed. There are no like pancake. I mean, there are pancake blocks and all that stuff, but a lot of that's just luck, isn't it? James Frank says that's who I meant. Screwed Elway. What was I talking about? What are we talking about, James? I think I lost. Broski Bear says Joe Montana and Jim Kelly are from Pennsylvania as well. I didn't know Joe Montana was from Pennsylvania. That's tough. So Broski, so guys, I believe it was Tuesday. We were talking about, because I just released my a top 10 tight end list, and I had Tyler Warren at number 1, and people were very, very upset about that. I just think Tyler Warren's going to have a great season, and we were talking about, the Daily Huddle people were talking about the tight end university, right? And off the top of your head, you're thinking like Notre Dame or Iowa or maybe like a Miami, right? But Broski Bear is like, whoa, slow down, baby. Penn State is a tight end U, and he rattled off 7, 8, 9, 10 names of tight ends that are in the NFL like right now. So is Pennsylvania like the mecca of NFL players? Because, I mean, yes, we get our Californias and your Texas and your Floridas, right? Mainly because they're so much bigger than everybody else. I mean, not Florida, but Texas and California. But is Pennsylvania the mecca of the NFL? I would be curious to say the last 25, 30 years, how many NFL players came from Pennsylvania versus Texas and Nebraska and California and like all that stuff, right? Now we need to put a caveat on it, because like per capita, right? Because Texas has like 17 million people versus Kansas is 1 million. But if Kansas puts out 100 and Texas puts out 200, Kansas has more NFL players per capita. Like, does that make sense? So I would be curious of like what that kappa is. James Frank says the drive is when Elway led the Broncos back to beat the Browns to go to the Super Bowl. Screw them. So what is that on? Is it on Netflix? Is it on ESPN? Like, let me know, because I would like to watch it, because I like to watch those football historian shows. YouTube, it is on there actually. Okay, so I will get on my computer on the way to Indy tomorrow, and I will watch it on YouTube. Broski Bear says the Hogs in the 80s were a great offensive line. The Washington Redskins, they were. I do remember people talking about it as well. The QB, the quarterbacks didn't have red Lawrence Taylor chasing them. Facts. Or a cocaine-filled Lawrence, right? And James Frank says, let me talk about your tight end list here, Buck. He says, let me talk about your tight end. People were pissed off that Fannin Jr. was number 3. Listen, let me go over to Facebook.com real quick. Facebook.com/Man-Hour NFL Talk, guys. Go over there and like follow us, right? I think we've been struggling to get over 35,000 for some reason. Like we get to 35, then it drops it back down to 34. Like I don't know what is going on. But let me go over to my top 10 tight end list, and I don't have the stuff saved, but you guys are going to have to trust my reading ability here. But my top 10 tight end rankings projection going into 2026 in an NFL season. At number 1, I have Tyler Warren. I think Tyler Warren is going to have the best season out of all of tight ends. Number 2 is Trade McBride. Number 3 was Harold Fannin Jr. for the Cleveland Browns. Number 4 was Brock Bowers coming off an injury. Let's not forget that he was injured last season. Number 5 was Jake Ferguson. Number 6 was Cade Otton. I think Cade Otton and Baker Mayfield are going to make some magic this season. Number 7 was Loveland from the Chicago Bears. Number 8 was Dallas Goedert for the Eagles. Number 9 was Travis Kelce. Like, what? And number 10 was Sam Laporta. And then the very first comment that I see is like, no George Kittle, no Komet, no Kraft. Well, no, because Tucker Kraft, is he going to play this season? Is George Kittle going to play this season? Is Komet going to repeat of what he did last season? Like, no. Right? These are the projections that I have for this upcoming season. I do not think George Kittle is going to be the man, the myth, the legend. I do not think that Komet is going to be a top 10 tight end this season. I do not think that old Tucker Kraft is going to be a top 10 tight end this season. Does that mean they suck? No. It just means that 10 other players are going to do better than they were. It is what it is. But people are so crazy up in arms about that. They're like, fuck, are you drunk? This is AI slop. Like, I get it. So let me head back over here to the Huddle Sports Podcast. Guys, like, listen, I have 2 different comment sections. So if you guys want to come over to youtube.com/man hour, we can definitely get your comments there a little bit quicker. And Steve says Steve Young over Joe Montana. This guy's just drunk. As much as I like Steve Young, I would take an aging Joe Montana over Steve Young. I don't like old left-hand quarterback. Screw them all. Yender says you a young buck. I am a young buck. I am young buck, but man, my body hurts. Football kicked my ass. Like, I wake up every day, have to like slide on slippers. Like it, but football is rough on your bodies, boys. Steve said, I'm only 53 years young, baby. John is like 62. Jim is like 106. So we got a lot of old heads in here. Fred says, Jens, I love to watch movies. I had a hard time giving them a number 1 favorite. I can name about 10 movies that are all my favorites. Listen, Fred, I am with you. It is hard to give a top 10 list of movies or food or places to go. I get you. I get you. And Steve says Peyton Manning over Patrick Mahomes, easy. That is a autographed Hall of Fame poster by the one and only Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning is the 2nd greatest quarterback of all time behind Aaron Rodgers. I agree with that. Manning was pretty good. Ron says, do you remember Rocket Ismail? Yes, I remember Rocket Ismail because I had a football game and it was a bubble screen to him and let him run down the field. But as far as watching him in the actual NFL, no, I do not remember him. And Steve said it was a great game, meaning the comeback, Broncos versus Browns. That is tough, baby. That is tough. Fred said, I don't know about shit about PSU football. My second favorite sport is wrestling at Penn State. Wrestling is a dynasty. Ain't nobody stopping them. They aren't what Iowa used to be, and to be some. I don't know shit about wrestling, but you are right. Iowa and Penn State are always up in there. Always. Rather be fishing. Fred said, that's up to your channel, bud. Hey, appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. Guys, we are like this close to 7,000 subs over here on YouTube. So every little one helps us get to our goal, because my goal is 7,000 by July 1st. And I think we are very, 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 very close to that. John Saturn's the Pigskin Pundit.
Pigskin Pundit. Get you some.
He says, what's good, man? Hour? What is good, brother? What is good? All right, guys, so let's get into some more football talk, because Detroit Lions fans, did your season kind of just go up in flames? It's not time for payday yet. It's time for this one. Mistakes have been made. Man, our nation, we have spent the last couple days talking about structure, or their lack thereof, during the NFL offseason. Breaking down the arrests like Jonathan Cooper and Rashid Rice and Josh Jacobs and Geno Smith. We talked about how guys lose their minds when the discipline of the facility drops. But just when we hit the wire out of Florida is an absolutely entirely different level. This isn't a standard offseason mistake. This is an absolute career, and matter of fact, life-altering catastrophe. Detroit Lions starting quarterback Terrion Arnold and their 2024 first-round pick, or 2024 first-round pick, I should say, Alabama, John, where's your boy, has officially surrendered to law enforcement in the Orient Road Jail in Tampa. He is facing 8 massive felony counts, including 4 counts of kidnapping and 4 counts of armed robbery. The Hillsborough County State Attorney's Office just announced that they are seeking potential detention and pursuing charges that can carry a maximum of life in prison. Guys, let's break this down. This is the most disturbing details of this investigation because the anatomy of this story is simply wild. Let's break down the facts. This is what we know from the Tampa Police Department because the whole situation stems from an incident that happened way back in the first week of February. According to investigators, Arnold and his associates were staying at an Airbnb in Florida when the house was burglarized while they were out. Arnold and his group reported over $250,000 worth of personal property was stolen, including $100,000 in cash and an $80,000 necklace. Now, up to this point, Arnold is the victim of the major crime. But instead of letting the police handle it and do their jobs, authorities alleged that Arnold decided to play street detective and take matters into his own hands. The police are labeling the 23-year-old cornerback as a primary contributor and the ringleader of the brutal retaliation plot. He allegedly suspected a private driver that they hired along with 2 young men in their late teens to pull off the heist. But here's the tragic killer from the police report. Investigators have initially cleared these young men. So they were after the wrong guys. They were completely innocent. They had nothing to do with the robbery whatsoever. But because of the false suspicion, Arnold's crew allegedly lured these 3 teenagers to a Tampa apartment on February 4th. Once the victims walked through the door, they were ambushed. They were held at gunpoint, battered, pistol whipped by Arnold's associates. And check out the detail in the court documents. While the physical assault was initially being carried out by his co-defendants, Arnold wasn't even physically in the room yet. He was allegedly watching the entire beating happen via live stream, set up by one of his boys. Police say later he showed up to the apartment himself while the assault was still ongoing, and his crew robbed the victim of their personal belongings before finally letting them go. Now, Arnold's defense team at EAG Sports Management is basically saying nothing happened. We did not beat those people. He had nothing to do with it. They put out a statement saying that he had no involvement. There was no credible evidence. Brother, it was on live stream. There's evidence. But they're trying to rely on the testimony from the co-defendants who had major incentives to shift blames. But with 6 other suspects already behind bars and 2 of them having pled guilty already, the legal walls are closing in fast on this young defensive back. But from a football perspective, this is the total an absolute nightmare for Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell and the Detroit line. Just last week at minicamp, Campbell was talking about how much Arnold was rehabbing his shoulder injury from last season, was told the media that he was going to have to earn his starting job back. Well, now he's got a lot bigger fight to earn his job back now. If Arnold is convicted or even held without bond, his football career is it's essentially over. The Lions released a brief statement saying that they are aware of the legal situations, but behind closed doors, they have to be absolutely furious. Financially, Arnold is in the middle of his fully guaranteed $14.3 million rookie contract. If the Detroit Lions cut him for standard reasons, they are buried under dead cap money. But because of felony kidnapping charge and a lengthy league suspension is probably pending, this will void his contract guarantees. But Man Our Nation, let me ask you this question. Did the Detroit Lions do the right thing? Did Arnold do the right thing? When a player is facing life in prison on kidnapping and armed robbery charges, how fast should the Lions react? Cut ties with him, kick him to the curb, or let the process play out? Guys, drop your thoughts in the comments down below. Hit the like button and hit the share button as well. Broski Bear says TA rented the Airbnb to have a gangster party. This is what happens. He had his girlfriend lure two of the guys into a hotel room where his guys were waiting for them to the closet and jumped out of him. Stupid. Absolutely stupid. James Frank says, I can't believe he turned himself in. He's about to do long time. I'll be playing catch me till you can't. So, James, two sides of the story here, right? Let's flashback to Antonio Brown, right? AB. He pulled a gun out on a guy in a boxing thing, right? And then he fled to somewhere in Africa, right? He was gone for like 3, 4, 5, 6 months. He did exactly that. Everybody assumed that he was guilty because you ran. You were playing hard to get. Now, ultimately, he came back. He faced charges. I don't know what the legal battle is right now. I feel like everything kind of got swept under the rug and kind of gone. But to me and the rest of us here at Man Our Nation, when he did that, we all kind of like, he is guilty. So if Arnold, a high-profile athlete, a high-profile stuff that's happening, doesn't turn himself in, wouldn't that give you the false perception that he is guilty? Wouldn't that give you the bro, why are you running? So by him turning himself in, kind of backs the story like, hey, you have no evidence that I did anything. You have no evidence that I did this, and this. Yes, there's 6 people versus me, but I have a live stream that shows them beating them. You don't have video of me doing anything. So I get what you're saying. Get what you're saying. But turn yourself in. Broski Bear says the third guy went into the room later and got beaten too, and they supposedly drove them to another location. So Broski Bear, I heard people talking about that this morning, but I have not seen any credible court documents to say that. Now, I think they had court arraignment this afternoon. Now, that is just like a bond hearing and yada, yada, yada. I don't know what the outcome of that. I think it was like 4 o'clock Eastern when that happened. But I have not read that actually happened. I think the kidnapping was them holding against their will, per se, in the hotel room or Airbnb or whatever it was. Broski Bear says, I don't understand how the Lions haven't cut him yet. So, Broski Bear, I have read into this, and I work for a banking association, so we have a lot of lawyers in our office, and we actually share office space with lawyers. So we have like 7 floors, and 5 of the 7 floors are lawyer offices. So I am tight with a lot of lawyers and like a lot of legal people. We all talk football, sports in general all the time because we have a common work break room that we go and hang out and bullshit, right? So I asked him this very question because we all read the same article from ESPN.com. We also saw the headlines on Twitter and ESPN. Like we've seen all that, right? And those legal guys read into the cases. So I was like, call him Joe. I'm like, hey, Joe, I know you have read the court docs. You were on the Tampa Bay, my case, and you're reading through the court docs, and you saw all this, right? What are your thoughts on this? And from their legal expertise, right, they said that the Lions could cut him, and if he was proven guilty, everything would be A-okay. Very reasonable thing to cut him. Now, they said if he goes through the court process and found innocent, the Detroit Lions would be on the hook for that $14-15 million because he actually didn't do anything wrong. Now, he did say, you know, the NFL could still suspend him for contact detrimental to the league. Got all that legal jargon, right? But the simple fact of the matter is the Lions are going to let the due process happen. Unlike the Houston Texans, unlike other people that have jumped the gun too early. The Harding case for the Carolina Panthers come to like mind, right? Electoration says cut him now. No questions asked. But you have to ask the question though. Like, what if he's not guilty? What if he pulls a Geno Smith and pays that girl $1 million to shut her mouth? What if he pulls a Josh Jacobs again and says $250,000, shut your mouth, go get some boobs? Money talks, baby. Money talks. But I get it. Fred says, Broski, right now the Lions have the process to play out. I was watching the Lions channel and he broke it down. He's claiming he's innocent. If he is and the Lions cut him, they are paying him. Facts. The Lions can cut him for whatever reason. Just like the Cleveland Browns can cut Deshaun Watson for whatever reason. Still the guaranteed money, still the dead cap hit if he does not void the contract. Deshaun Watson last year when he was dancing on a TikTok and tore his Achilles again, that in theory could have voided his contract if the Browns really wanted to go down that route, but they didn't want to go down that legal route. So from everything that I read and understand, Terrion Arnold is saying that he is not guilty. He is innocent. That's why he turned himself in. That's why he's trying to post bond, even though I think they're trying to hold him without bond, but we will see. Fred says Lions cut him and they're eating $7.5 million this season. If they wait for the NFL to basically give the Lions permission or the courts to find him guilty, they can get their money back. Facts on facts on facts. James Frank says they had him wearing the turtle suit. What is a turtle suit? Is that like the mask where you can't like bite and spit on yourself? Is that what they're talking about? Broski said he didn't even have a burner phone. They can track his phone. He is done. So, Broski Barrett, as a former person that used to have a burner phone, I totally understand the reason for a burner phone. However, he said he went to said Airbnb. He said he saw them on live stream doing that. So what does a burner phone have to do with anything? Now, are you saying there's text messages saying, hold them, do this, whatever? Are there recorded phone calls saying, hey, do this, do that from Arnold? If you're saying that, then yes, I understand the reason for the burner phone. But the fact that he was just watching on live stream or FaceTime or whatever it was, there's no need for a burner phone for that. There is no reason to, cover your tracks per se, because if it's not via text message, I highly doubt FaceTime was being recorded. I highly doubt a phone call was being recorded at the time because there was no need to. But it's a very tough situation. John Sedrin picks him, pundit.
Pigskin pun. Get you some.
He says they haven't cut because his guarantees will be mandatory. If he gets charged, they lose all that contact. Yes. Cut him after he's guilty. It's kind of like the Patriots thing with Aaron Hernandez, right? They didn't cut him until the courts played out, until he was actually in jail hanging out. Then they're like, oh, okay. And John says he's guilty. He's already been charged. So being charged for something and being guilty are two totally different things, i.e. Josh Jacobs, i.e. Geno Smith, i.e. Other athletes that have been charged with stuff. Josh Jacobs' charges were dropped, not guilty. Geno Smith's charges were dropped, not guilty. Jonathan Cooper's charges have not been dropped, most likely guilty. The man ate a cell phone. So you can say he's guilty. He has been charged. Let the process play out. He is not guilty he's innocent until proven guilty, right? Broski says TA thought he was slick using his girlfriend as butter. But if he can't get traced to his phone, supposedly. So Broski, from what I'm kind of gathering from what you're saying is you're saying that he sent a text message saying, hey, go do this. Get these people here. If there's text message trail, then obviously, yes, like there's going to be some type of a conspiracy charge, right? A conspiracy to commit aggravated battery, a conspiracy to kidnap and like all this stuff. Now, I don't know what the conspiracy sentencing is. 3 to 5 years, maybe. I don't know, but it's not going to be life in prison because he says he didn't beat him. He said he wasn't there. John says if the NFL suspends him, it will only cancel a certain amount of the guarantees. Correct. But if he's in jail, all the guarantees get canceled. Broski says you typically don't get charged for kidnapping if you do not kidnap someone. They took their time to get the case together for months. They aren't making this up. Digital footprints. I'm going to be devil's advocate here. Technically, Terrion Arnold did not kidnap them. He could have said, hey, keep these people here until I'm there. But he was not the one holding those people. From the reports that I read, once he got there, he stole from them and put them in a car and made them leave. So technically, if you want to go down the technical route, he did not kidnap them. Those 6 other people did, his girlfriend and his 5 boys. They're the one that's technically kidnapped them. He just showed up to finish the job. John says, put a fork in him. He is done. I agree. Broski Bear, so much for Lions being all about their character players. Yes. The Lions had character players ever? Like when? When? John says, apparently the turtle suit is for most celebrities, people trying to hurt themselves. Oh. So Terrion Arnold will not be hanging out in a few weeks is what you're saying. Got it. It's a harm reduction suit so they can't commit harm to themselves or others. So he is in a isolation cell with cameras all over in this suit. Got it. And John says, next man up, baby. Next man up, baby. Isn't that the Lions' MO? And Broski Sparrow says, yes, he instructed them through his phone. So Broski, you are right. So I can tell you, hey, go kidnap this person. I can tell you to go do that, right? But am I the one kidnapping? No, Broski, you are the one kidnapping. I mean, I could be the ringleader and the co-conspirator or whatever legal term you want to throw out there, but I did not kidnap, technically. Technically, you did. You were just following orders, brother. You were just following orders. Fred says the conspiracy side of things is likely the nail, though. So if you... I'm trying to think of the TV show that it's Ozarks, right? They conspire to rob said person. Because they didn't rob them, because it was actually an undercover cop and a federal agent, they get a conspiracy charge, which is only like 5 years. And of course, this was in Ozarks. I don't know how real it is, whatever. But if I conspire to kidnap, that's not life in prison. Couple years. Come on, man. James Frank says not guilty and not guilty till found guilty by the court of law. They will have a trial and all that. It's going to be a very, very long process. I agree. And James, from my understanding, the Tampa Bay Police Department or DA is trying to get him to be in jail through the length of this long process. So no bond. So definitely going to not play football probably this season. Fred says, Brokey, while I agree with you, O.J. Simpson comes to mind. It's never about whether they did or not. It's about what they can prove and how much of it. That is facts. Like, just because I know and you know and that person knows that I stole that four-wheeler from said person, if you don't talk and you don't talk and I don't talk and there's no cameras, how can you prove that? Facts. If the glove doesn't fit, you must acquit. He showed up and forced them into another vehicle. Yeah, he sent them away. He said, we don't want you here no more. Go home. So if I force a girl into an Uber after I'm finished with her, is that considered kidnapping? I don't want you to stay. Like, get out of here. Go get in the car. I don't think you're following what they're saying about the kidnapping part. I'm not understanding, because Terrion Arnold did not technically kidnap them. I mean, I am an intelligent person. I understand what stuff says to me, but common sense is telling me also that Terrion Arnold did not kidnap them. 6 other people did. They took months to build this case and charge him. I agree. I mean, like they aren't just going to spend all these resources for what? February, March, April, May, June, 4 months worth of resources to build a non-sticking case. But at the same time, I get that they can prove additional proof. He said he was there. Like, there's no disputing that. They can prove the GPS. They can prove where he went. Yes, I understand all that. But I am not understanding the kidnapping part. The conspiracy enough is to end his NFL career. Listen, Fred, as I agree with that, the kidnapping is enough to NFL his life, right? Even if he's found innocent, let's be devil's advocate. Let's say Terrion Arnold is found innocent throughout this whole thing. Kidnapping charges dropped, conspiracy charges dropped, the robbery charges dropped. I think somebody said something about a RICO charge. I don't know what RICO charge means, but I think Broski, I think you said something about a RICO charge. I don't know what that is, but let's say devil's advocate, all that gets thrown out. Innocent, clean slate, nothing ever happened. Sorry about your pain and suffering. Here's $100,000, right? Because of this due process, his NFL career is over. Just by being associated with said incident is going to end his NFL career. The Baylor kid comes to mind. Now he's playing in the CFL, but a white girl accused him of raping her like a month before the draft. Never saw the NFL field. Turns out he was dating the girl. Turns out her parents did not like a black man. It turns out she said that he raped her because his parents was putting pressure on her. Nothing ever happened. Never played it down in the NFL. Broski Sarah says he doesn't have to physically kidnap someone if they can prove he instructed it. Okay. So, because I tell you to do something and you go do it, I get charged for the kidnapping if you say that I did it or I told you to. Got it. I understand that, and you are probably 100% correct on that. My common sense brain just it is not registering, right? Excuse me. Yender says technically his boys came out of the closet. I just caught that. His boys did come out of the closet. Sheesh. And Yender said Broski made a valid point there. Very, very valid, very valid point. And it's, listen, Broski is a very, very smart man. Broski is a level-headed, common sense individual. And he said he doesn't have to physically kidnap someone if they can prove he instructed it. See, I did not know that. I can admit when I was wrong. And obviously I am wrong about this situation, and I would say I am very uninformed of actually how kidnapping works. I've never kidnapped somebody before. But now that I know, if I instruct somebody to go kidnap said person, I'm going to have problems. I guess my common sense brain was saying, since I actually did not do that, I didn't do it, right? But it is what it is. Electro Retro says that poor dude from Baylor, man, it was horrible for him. Dude was cold. Listen, Electro Registration, I forgot his name's like Akabu or something like that. He is being a dog up there in the CFL. Go watch his CFL highlights. I think he played there for like 4 or 5 years. He was a dog. Broski says, if you put a hit on someone, you get charged with the murder. I did know that. I did know if you hired a hitman, you get that charge, but I didn't know about the kidnapping. And John says,
pigskin pun. Get you some.
Guilty by association. Listen, I understand it now. My common sense brain was telling me otherwise, but now I took a step back, heard you guys' thoughts, understood you guys' thoughts, and I understand it. James Frank says Broski brings to mid Little Dirk. Comes to mind Little Dirk. Correct. The little rapper dude. James Frank says right, because he has the money to pay people to do what he's telling them to do. It will be worse, I believe, for him. Listen, money talks. So let me tell you guys a little story about long ago when I thought I was going to the NFL. I thought I was the bee's knees. I thought I was on top of the world. I was killing it in high school. I was having a great time in college. I was in the CFL. I was doing my thing. Man, I was going to the moon, baby. My uncle says, hey, you making a little bit of bread, brother? Listen, we all get in trouble from time to time. We all get in trouble from time to time. He says, back in his day, because my uncle was a professional athlete, he said he always had somebody on the payroll to take the fall. So he always had a boy around him, giving him 20,000 here, 30,000 there. If something were to ever go down, he did it. I was just a bystander. My uncle said you always want to have that person in your circle. Now, obviously I was pretty clean cut. I didn't do a lot of bad things in my life, but to sit back and think about that now, like, why don't these NFL players have that fall guy? Terrion Arnold is guaranteed $14.7 million. $14.7 million. Yes, I understand 50% of that goes to taxes and your agent. I get all that. You still have $7 million for the next 4 years. You give a guy, your homeboy from high school, your homeboy from elementary school, hell, somebody you were kicking it, smoking dope in college with. You pay him $100,000 a year just to be your boy. Hey, man, come live at my house. I will pay for your food. I'll give you $100,000 a year. But if anything goes down, you did it. Why doesn't Terrion Arnold have that guy? Why don't more people, Jonathan Cooper, have that guy? Why doesn't Geno Smith have that guy? Why does not Josh Jacobs have that guy? Come on, man. Ron says, am I blocked? You are not blocked, Ron. I just have the man-hour chat on my OBS, and then through StreamYard, I have the huddle chat. So I got to click back and forth, and sometimes I forget. So I encourage you to come over to youtube.com/man-hour so I see your comments, I guess, quicker, right? But no, you are not blocked by any stretch of the imagination. The Inter says it would be an accessory to a crime, I believe, right? Probably. Some type of accessory, conspiracy, whatever legal term you want to use. That is what it is. Ray Caruth from the Panthers wide receiver was charged with murder, putting a hit on his pregnant girlfriend. I do remember that. So listen, I was 100% wrong about the kidnapping. 100% wrong. And Broski Bear says Ray Caruth is the example of hiring a hitman. You guys are all on the same page. I agree. Broski says, you the man. Thanks, buddy. Says that is what I'm saying. He's using his girlfriend as a buffer, supposedly. But if you can get all the digital trace back to him, that buffering is not butter. I concur. I concur with you guys 150%. I have changed my tone on that a little bit. Arnold, you're done. You're done. James says, probably because most of those guys don't exist anymore. A lot of these guys that would stick to that contract. Listen, James, dating back, I'm still fairly young. I still have a lot of connections, right? My nephew is now going through that process as well. He is a stud in high school. He is going through college. There are still people out there that will still do that. There are still people out there that you want to keep in your corner as a fall guy. I mean, I know that sounds wrong. I know that sounds dirty. I know that sounds morally just, what the fuck is wrong with you, Buck? And I agree. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you, Marty, for telling me that, right? But at the end of the day, Jamarcus Russell comes to like mind, right? He had all these homeboys from elementary school that were following his coattails forever, right? He was paying their way to live there, to drink, to eat, to come hang, come hang out with them, do whatever, right? Are you telling me none of them wouldn't have taken the fall for their breadwinner? Just think about it. Those 5 guys and a girlfriend that Terrion Arnold had, he was paying for all their jewelry, all their food, all their Airbnb, all their gangster parties. That's all gone now because you didn't take the fall. Broski Bear says he's toast. My guesstimate is he's actually served 10 years. He will get convicted for 20, but only have to do 10. 10 is better than life. He could probably plead down to 5, right? But I don't know. Guys, let's quickly touch on the last topic of today. We are at our hour time limit. I got to get to bed because we're going to Dave Matthews tomorrow. Guys, Kyle Pitts gets the Bills, y'all. $54 million in the bag. Kyle Pitts is now the 3rd highest paid tight end in the entire NFL. Guys, you remember me just reading off of my top 10 tight end list? Kyle Pitts wasn't on there. Falcons effed up. That's what it is at the end of the day. Falcons effed up. We'll see you guys Tuesday. Yeah.
Hey, now it's time to take off. Gotta keep it live and raw. Better stay tuned in. Man, our NFL talk. I know that you're ready for more. They on the field, ready for war. Who's in the lead? I'm checking the score. We about to do it like never before. NFL live, uncut, raw.